Trump saying he'll name a new Bureau of Labor Statistics chief in the next few days. In domestic news, that's after he fired the previous one last week over dismal job numbers. Without evidence, the president accused the now former Labor official of rigging employment data. The White House advisor defended Mr. Trump's decision.
They could be politically manipulated because they're so untransparent. There's a black box system out there making the jobs numbers that needs to be improved.
Kevin Liptak is in Washington, D.C. The data coming out from organisations like this are vital, aren't they, for the markets to follow? And there's some question about how reliable it might be if there's a political appointee in that position. But take us through how it works.
Yeah, and the way that these numbers work is that the Bureau of Labor Statistics sends out this survey to employers every month to try and ascertain where the labor market stands. The rate of response has been declining in recent years, so they don't get the numbers back that they necessarily need to provide a full picture. Nonetheless, they release the numbers monthly and then revise them as they get more and more responses from these various workplaces. And so that's why these revisions have been so dramatic. The president seems to be suggesting that there's some sort of political motivation at play, but in reality, they are a normal part of this process, and there's no evidence to suggest that the woman that he fired on Friday, who's the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, one, had any role in manipulating these figures, or two, that any of the numbers or any of the people who are working there are somehow politically motivated. Neither the president nor his advisors, including Kevin Hassett, who you just saw there, have provided any evidence on that front as they sort of go out over the weekend and today to try and defend what the president has done here. And I do think it is actually quite striking that you have not heard reports of any kind of internal dissent about this decision that the president has made. You know, when you think about the president's sort of ruminations about firing, for example, Jay Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, you had heard that a number of the president's advisors, whether it's Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, or Hassett, warning that that could potentially cause market turmoil, that would be challenged in court. The president obviously has stopped short of doing that. You don't hear about that during this current sort of controversy, which I think is somewhat striking, just given how every sort of economist outside of the White House and outside of the administration has really been up in arms about this, suggesting that it's something that you would see in a banana republic, saying that it's quite a disturbing development on the part of the president, including the person who occupied this role during President Trump's first administration, who President Trump actually put into this job, saying just over the weekend that this was something of a disturbing trend, and also that whoever the president replaces, even if they are highly qualified and even if they are not cooking these numbers to satisfy the president, anything that comes out of that agency once that person is in place will immediately be questioned by the president's critics. And so it is something of an ongoing controversy. One thing that it has done is kind of obscure any question about the state of the U.S. labor market, which the numbers on Friday did show was weakening significantly. Obviously, the president has created this own controversy by dismissing the head of the statistical agency, but it does raise questions about, for example, what the president's tariffs are doing to the state of the U.S. jobs market, what the overall state of the economy will be. All of that kind of left to the side as this question of this dismissal and firing really occupies Washington.
Yeah, what a story. Kevin, thank you.